ब्रह्मार्पणम ब्रह्महवि ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्मणाहुतम ब्रह्मैवा तेन गंतव्यम ब्रह्मैवा तेन गंतव्यम ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. This verse we had been discussing in our last meeting about the sacrifice, and there are different types of sacrifice recommended according to the different classes of men. There are generally three classes of human beings. Those who are under the influence of the modes of goodness, and those who are under the modes of passion. And those who are under the modes of ignorance. The whole Vedic scriptures, they are also divided into three divisions according to these modes of material nature. There are 18 Puranas. Puranas means supplementary to the Vedas. The Vedas, they are written in a very difficult language. But in order to explain them to the ordinary person, there are Puranas, Mahabharata, Ramayana. Disturbing. The Vedic principle is described according to these modes of material nature. There are 18 Puranas. Out of that, 6 Puranas are in the modes of goodness, and the 6 Puranas are in the modes of passion, and 6 Puranas are in the modes of ignorance. So, there are different varieties of sacrifices according to the different class of men. The whole idea of Vedic literature is to give chance to every human being to develop a spiritual consciousness under certain rules and regulations. So what is applicable to the persons who are in the modes of ignorance, they are not applicable to the persons who are in the modes of goodness. Or those who are in the modes of passion, they are not applicable to the modes of goodness. The gradual process of evolution. Now, just like there are recommendations of animal sacrifice, there are many different kinds of sacrifice. There is recommendation of animal sacrifice also in the Vedic literature. And what is that? That is a sort of restriction to the animal eaters. Indirectly, it is restriction, but it is sanctioned also as sacrifice in the Vedas. Just like the Vedic principle says that if you want to eat flesh, don't eat flesh and which is not offered in the sacrifice. Which is not offered in the sacrifice. Now, those who have been in India, perhaps you have seen the goddess Kali. The goddess Kali, before the goddess Kali, a goat sacrifice is offered. But the Vedic principle says that if you want to take flesh, then you must sacrifice the goat before the goddess Kali, and then you can take. And that prescription is also very difficult, because on the dark moon night, the goat has to be sacrificed, and there are so many paraphernalia, and the mantra, the hymns chanted there, the goat is, and to whisper within the ear that the man who is sacrificing you, he will be responsible for your life, and for yourself you are going to get the next life as human being without waiting for the evolutionary process. The animals, that there is an evolutionary process that is accepted in Darwin's theory also, anthropomorphism, and what is that? And anthropology, yes, not anthropomorphism. Anthropology. Anthropology, there is evolutionary process, so that is accepted in the Vedic literature also. So the animal which is sacrificed, he gets immediately his evolutionary process developed, promoted to from animal life to human life. But the man who is offering that sacrifice, he becomes the responsible. These are therefore, there are so many hymns in the Vedic literature. The whole idea is that by offering such sacrifice, the man is restricted from flesh eating. Similarly, there are many kinds of sacrifices. They are described here. I think those descriptions may not be very elaborately described, but I give you the idea. Devameva pare jaggang yogina paripasate brahmagnava pare jaggang jagge naiva upajuhati sutradini indriyani anne sanjavagnesu juhati sabdadin visananna indriyagnesu juhati. Jaggadana tapakriya, Jaggadana tapakriya natajyam kartabam. This is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that jagga, sacrifice, charity, dana, jaggadana and tapa. Tapa means penance. Now, there are 4 divisions of human society according to Vedic literature. The brahmacārī, the grihastha, the vanaprastha and the sannyas. The brahmacārī means the student life, more or less, student life. And grihastha means those who are leading family life after the student life. And vanaprastha means retired life. And the sannyas means renounced order. They have no connection with worldly activities. So these are 4 different stages of human social orders. Now, the brahmacārī, they are meant for sacrifice. The students are recommended to sacrifice, especially to sacrifice sense gratification. The students are, formerly, they were in the guru-gṛha, spiritual master's place, and they had to undergo severe types of regulations. So, the brahmacārī is expected to go to every householder and beg. There was no system of schooling, there was no system for payment. The spiritual master, the teacher, he did not accept any payment in pounds and in pence. That was not accepted. because mostly the Brahmins, they used to become the teacher. So they were not accepting any salary. The Brahmins are forbidden to accept any service. So the education was free. To every student, education was free. And village to village, education was so. In former days, even 50 years before, I have seen in villages there were some small school, and all the village boys, they were coming and they were taking education. So education was very much widespread because education was free in this way. So students were meant to go for begging alms for the teacher. These are some of the the regulative principles. Now, that is sacrifice. They sacrifice their labor for the spiritual master, for the teacher. And whatever they got, they surrender to the teacher. And it is said that after cooking, if the teacher asks the student, my dear boy, you come and take your meals, then he will take. Otherwise, if the teacher forgets to call him one day for his meals, then he should not go and ask the teacher that, sir, I am not taking my food, give me my food. Rather, he should starve. So much penance, so much civility. These are called sacrifices. So student life is meant for sacrifice. They should undergo training under severe regulations and penances so that life may be built up for future hope and future spiritual realization. Then the sacrifice is meant for the student life. Similarly, the family life, those are jagat dana. Dana means charity. The grihastha, those who are living in family life with wife and children, they are expected to give in charity as much as possible. That is also sacrifice. Suppose you are earning $1,000 in a month. So according to Vedic instruction, you should give in charity 50% of your income. $500 you should give in charity. And 25% you should spend for your family, and 25% as you are a family man, you may have it as bank balance so that in case of emergency you may require it. This is the prescription. Suppose you are earning $1,000 a month, you should give in charity for God's service 50%, and 25% you should spend for your family dependence, and 25% you may have in a bank balance so that this is the point. So jagat dana, this is also sacrifice. Sacrifice. So jagat dana and tapa. Tapa means penance. So the students are meant for sacrifice, and the grihasthas, the householders, are meant for giving in charity. And so far we are concerned, just like sannyasi, we are meant for tapasya, penance. We should undergo all kinds of difficulties for spreading the knowledge that we have acquired. That is the process of sannyasi. A sannyasi, a renounced order of man who is in the renounced order of life, his business is that his acquired knowledge, his experienced knowledge should be distributed to the public. So, according to the varnashram dharma, the brahmacārī and the vanaprastha and the sannyas. Now, suppose if there are 100 persons in a society, 25% students, 25% retired life, and 25% sannyas, renounced order of life. Now, out of 100 persons, 75% they are engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. The rest 25% who are grihasthas, they are meant for sacrificing 50% of their income for these 75%. That is the whole program of varnashram dharma. That is a kind of spiritual communism. Spiritual communism. For spiritual advancement of the society, the whole social order is so arranged that 75% of the people, they are engaged in the matter of spiritual advancement of knowledge, and 25% of the population, those who are earning, those who are in a family life, those who have got factories, business and so many things, they should sacrifice 50% of their income for the 75% persons who are engaged in spiritual emancipation. So that is the whole program. Oh, I am very glad to see you. That is the whole program of varnashram dharma. Varna and ashram. Varna means that you have perhaps heard the caste system in India. That is called varna. That is the caste system which is now going on. That is a vitiated form of caste system. And you have heard in the Bhagavad Gita that Chatur Varnang Maya system Gunakarma Vibhaga. This Varna and Ashram is also creation of the Supreme Lord Krishna. That is not man-made. That is not man-made. So, how that Varnashram is created? Gunakarma Vibhaga. The guna, as I have already told you, that we are being controlled in three qualities or three modes of nature. So, anyone, he must be either under the spell of these three qualities. So, according to the quality and according to the karma, the varnas are there. I have several times explained to you. So, the varna and the ashrama. Ashrama means the brahmacārī ashram, the grihastha ashram, the vanaprastha ashram, and the sannyasa ashram. Ashram, this very word, indicates that it is spiritual. And perhaps most of you know that ashram means, ashram, this very word means that this place, just like temple or church, there are so many buildings on the Second Avenue. When you see a church or a temple, you at once understand that this building is meant for spiritual understanding. Similarly, when we call ashram, ashram means that and it is a function is meant for spiritual realization. So all the four classes of social order, the brahmacārī, the grihastha, and the vanaprastha, and the sannyas, they are called ashram. Ashram means they are meant for spiritual emancipation. The student is also given instruction so that before entering family life, he gets complete instruction of spiritual life. So that when he enters into family life, he is not just like a cat and dog for sense gratification. They are meant for, although they live with wife and children, they are meant for spiritual emancipation. This is called ashram, grihastha ashram. So that was the idea. The whole program was aiming at spiritual emancipation. Nate vidushartha gatim hi Vishnu. Nati vidushartha gatim hi Vishnu durāsayaji bhirarthamanina andhā dathandhi vipaniyamana stepi satantra urudam nibaddha. It is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that Prahlad Maharaj, there is statement of Prahlad Maharaj before his father. His father was very much materialistic. So he was explaining to his father, my dear father, Nati vidu sartha gatingi Vishnu. General people, because he was in the materialistic family, his father was a great materialistic, so he is explaining, and he was a great devotee. The son was a great devotee, and the father was a great materialist, and there was a quarrel between father and son. So father questioned, where you have got all this nonsense knowledge of spiritualness? So he was explaining, Nate vidu sartha gatingi Vishnu, durāsayaje bahirarthamanina. My dear father, these people, these materialistic people, that means men of your nature, they do not know what is their self-interest. Everyone is very busy for fulfilling his self-interest, but actually he does not know what is his self-interest. The self-interest is Vishnu. So go back to Godhead, that is self-interest. Self-realization, self-interest, and so many things. Everything is meant for going back to Godhead. That is self-interest. So Prahlad Maharaj said that because people are very much illusioned by this external energy, the material energy is called external energy. Because people are deluded by this external, by the glamour of this external energy, they have forgotten that their self-interest is Vishnu, or the Supreme Personality of God. And they are conducting their life, general process of life, in a manner how na andhagathandhai dupaniyamana. Just like one blind man is leading several other blind men, he is a leader. A blind man has become the leader of several other blind men. So what benefit is there? If the man is blind, how can he lead? That because blind, why blind? The andhagathandhi vipaniyamana stay ishatantra urudam nibaddha. Ishatantra means by the laws of God or by the laws of nature, they are bound up tight hand and feet, and they are trying to get free from the control of the nature. So this struggle for existence is going on because they do not know that their self-interest lies in the understanding of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. And that is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhaunam janmanam ante jnanavan maga prapaddati. After many, many births, when a man is actually in full knowledge, he surrenders unto me, the Lord says. That is the ultimate interest. That is the ultimate knowledge that one should understand his relationship with Vishnu and surrender there. That is Maunam Janmanam Ante, after many, many births. Jnanavan, who has actually acquired knowledge, he surrenders unto me, the Lord says. But Samahatma Sudullava, but such a great soul is very rare. The surrender soul, a man in Krishna consciousness, a man surrendered unto the control of the Supreme Lord is very rare. So these are instructions we get from Vedic literature. And to come to this point, this surrendering process, that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samhatma Sudullava, to understand that the Supreme Lord is everything. Whatever is manifested before us, the different varieties of energies of the Supreme Lord, that is also stated in Vishnu Purana. Eka एकादेश स्थित शाग्ने ज्योत्स्ना विस्तारिणा जथा परस्य ब्रह्मण शक्ति सर्वेदम अखिलम जगत. The Vishnu Puran says that just like fire is situated in one place and distributes its heat and light and illumination from that place, similarly, whatever we are experiencing in this manifested world, they are different energies of the Brahmana, Parasa Brahmana, Parasa Parabrahma, that means Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is the Parama. So, whole process is, sacrifice means that we have to reach to that point. The whole process of sacrifice, either by yoga system or by jnana system or by observing the rules and regulation of the social system, everything is meant for reaching to that point. What is that? Bhavanam Janmanam Ante Jnanavanam, to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, if we are intelligent enough, then we should consider that if I have to do this job after many, many births, I am getting myself to very much experience. And Lord Krishna says that this is the last point of knowledge. Why not accept it immediately? Why not accept immediately? If I have to come to Krishna at the last stage of mature knowledge and surrender unto Him, then why should I wait for many births? Why should I wait for many births? Let me surrender unto me. Just yesterday night, one of our friends inquired that how long it takes time to have complete Krishna consciousness. So I replied that the Krishna consciousness can take place in a second, and it may not take in thousands of years. Because the point is here that after all we have to come to this point that surrender unto Krishna. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva means Krishna. Krishna is everything. And therefore I surrender unto Him. Some Mahatma should do it. That person, a great soul, is very rare to be found. Therefore, why not become that great soul immediately by surrender unto Krishna? This is the point. By sacrifice. Sacrifice means we have to come to that point. Now, if that is the point to be achieved at the end, then why not become immediately Jnanavan and surrender unto Krishna? That is my suggestion. Sarvani indriyani karmani prana karmani chapare atma sanyo jugavno juhati jnana dipite. Atma sanyo, there are different kinds of penances, that is called atma sanyama. The yogic principle is also another sort of atma sanyama. Drabha jagga, stapo jagga, yoga jagga, statha pare, sadhaya jnana jagga, jatya sangsita prita. There is Drabhamaya Jagga. Drabhamaya Jagga means giving in charity. That is called Drabhamaya Jagga. Jnanamaya Jagga means to engage oneself into the studies of the Vedas very critically, nicely. That is called Jnanamaya Jagga. And those who are controlling the senses, that is called Yogamaya Jagga. So there are different kinds of Jagga. And according to different types of Jagga, there are different types of yogi also. Each one of them is called yogi. So according to the types of Jagga, there are different kinds of yogis. Just like we are trying in the process of transcendental loving service. So we are Bhakta Yogi. We are called yogi in the devotional service. Of course, you will find in the 6th chapter that a Bhakta Yogi is the topmost yogi. Yogi namapi sarvesham madgata antaratmana saddhavan bhajati jumang samejukta tamo mata. And that is stated by the Lord, that there are different kinds of yogis. But the person who is always under the contemplation of me, he is the highest yogi. Therefore, devotional service, loving devotional service of the Supreme Lord, that is the topmost kind of yogi. That is, we find in every word, in every chapter, in every verse of this Bhagavad Gita, that the Krishna consciousness that which we are trying to culture, that is the highest type of yoga. Apane juvati pranam pranopanam tatha pare pranapana gati niruddhya pranayama prayana apare neta ahara prana praneshu juvati. This apart, there are breathing control. There are different kinds of air passing within the body, and the yoga system, the controlling. That is also another kind of sacrifice. Sarvapede yoga vidya yoga khapita kalmasa yogga systemito bhuja janti brahma sanatana. Now, what is the purpose of this sacrifice? Now it is concluded here. The sarvopi ete jagga vidya. All these different kinds of jagga, they are meant for diminishing our sinful reaction. Our sinful reaction, because we are accumulating many sinful reactions in different births. So, if we perform sacrifice, if we perform yoga, that process helps us in diminishing our accumulated and this sinful reaction. But so far, this Harinama, 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 Iva Kevalam, this is the easiest and the most supreme process. As we have discussed many times, the Lord Chaitanya recommends the Chetadaparnamarjanam. By this, Parang Vijayati Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, by this performance of Sankirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, immediately the dust from the mind is clear. That is recommended. So, in spite of, it is very easy process, it is the supreme process, it surpasses all kinds of other yoga and yoga system. Nayam loka asti ajaggasya kutanya kurusattama. The Lord says that those who are not performing yoga, they cannot be happy even in this world, in this life. And what to speak of next life? This is the therefore we have to perform sacrifice. Nayam loka, I am a loka, I am not this world in which we are at present. That is also become more miserable. At the present moment, people are feeling so much painful in the modern existence, because this process of yoga has been completely, people are engaged, work hard, earn money, and be engaged in sense gratification. That's all. This is the whole program at the present moment is going on. That cannot bring any peace and prosperity to the society. We have to perform yoga. That is the natural law. The Lord says, Nayam lokasti ajaggasya. Those who are not performing, for them there is no happiness even in this world, even in this life. And kuto anna kurusattama, my dear Arjuna, then what to speak of the next life? Next life is still more miserable. Evam bahuda jagga vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidditan sarvane evam jnata vimukshasi sriyana drabhamaya jagyat jnana jagga parantapa sarvam karma akhilam partho jnane parisamapate. Now Krishna is concluding his different types of jagga. He says that sriyana drabhamaya jagga jnana jagga parantapa. Jnana Jagga means, this is Jnana Jagga, which we are doing here. We are discussing Bhagavad Gita, very scrutinizingly and trying to understand every verse with reference to the Vedic reference, and as far as our logic and argument goes. So this is called Jnana Yajna. And Drabhamaya Yajna means, just yesterday, day before yesterday we discussed that in the altar of fire we have to sacrifice clarified butter, grains, or sometimes animal sacrifice. They are called Drabhamaya Yajna. The Krishna says, Sriyam Drabhamaya Yajna, that Drabhamaya, that sacrificing goods or other things in the Yajna. From that type of Yajna, Sriyam Drabhamaya Yajna, Jnana Yajna Parantam. Jnana Yajna, this philosophical discussion, logical discussion of the aim of life from authorized books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. If we have discussion, this is called Jnanamaya Yajna. With knowledge, Jnanamaya Yajna. So why Jnanamaya Yajna is preferred? Na sarva karma akhilam pratho jnani pari samapati. Because after all, we have to acquire that knowledge which will make me a surrendered soul to the Supreme. That's Bhavanam janmanamante jnanavan prabuddhate. So jnana also means that to understand our position, to understand what is God, to understand what is our relationship with God, to understand why we are in this material world, and what is our next life, where from we have come, where we have to derive knowledge, you can understand all these things. And when you understand everything, the path is clear. You can clearly understand that I am the part and parcel of the Supreme. Therefore, my duty is to render transcendental service to the Supreme. That is the highest Yajna, highest jnana, knowledge, Yajna. So Krishna advises that Jnanamaya Yajna, sacrifice. Now, to understand these things, we have to sacrifice some time, we have to sacrifice some labor, some attention. So these sacrifices are counted more than when we offer sacrifice of goods in the fire. That is clearly stated here. Now, what is the process of this knowledge? That is also stated by the law. Tadvidhi pranipatena priprasnena sivaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Now, if you have to acquire knowledge, then first of all, you have to find out a person who has already seen the light. Tattvadarshina. Tattva means, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, tattva is described, the English translation is absolute truth. That is called tattva. Now, vadanti tat tattvavidas satyam jadjnanam adnayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti satyam. Now that absolute truth is known in three different phases. What is that? Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So, a person, we have to, if we really seeking knowledge, then we have to find out a person who is Tattvadarshina, who has understood the absolute truth. Now, the absolute truth is realized in three phases: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. There are certain Tattvavid, or the knower of the absolute truth, who understands the absolute truth as impersonal Brahma. And there are other knower of the absolute truth who understands the absolute truth as the localized super soul. These are called yogis. And the first mentioned person, they are called jnanis. And there are other tattvavid, or knower of the absolute truth, who knows the absolute truth as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. So, either Brahma or Paramatma or Krishna, the Supreme Personality, there is no difference. The same thing. But according to the capacity of the knower, they are manifested into different phases. We have several times discussed this point, just like to understand the sun. Somebody is studying the sun ray, he is also studying sun, and somebody is studying what is the sun disk, so he is also studying sun, and somebody is trying to enter into the sun planet to see who is there. Everything is the sun, but the person who are studying the sun sign, their grade is lower than the person who is trying to understand the sun disk, and their position is lower grade than the person who wants to enter into the sun. So these bhaktas, they are trying to see the sun God within the sun, just like they want to see Krishna. In the Upanishad they will find there is a prayer that the Brahma is prayed, did you kindly push off your glaring, dazzling glare so that I can really see you. So within the Brahma Jyoti there is Krishna. So we have to see that. So anyway, either the Brahmavadi or Paramatmavadi or the Bhakta, they are all Tattvavid. They are all transcendentalists. There is no difference. But as there are three classes in every sphere, so there are three classes in the transcendental field also. So here Bhagavad Gita, the Lord recommends the Jnanina Tattva Darshana. You have to find out a person who is Tattvadarshi, who has realized the absolute truth, either in Brahma conception or in Paramatma conception or in personality of Godhead conception. Because we have got different tastes. So the Paramatma or the Supreme absolute truth is also manifested in three phases: Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So anyway, either you select the impersonal Brahma conception of the absolute truth, either you select the localized Supreme Soul, Super Soul conception of the absolute truth, or you accept the highest, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Matta paratara nannata sthitincid dhananya. The Lord says that this is the last phase of absolute truth, what I have, Krishna. So anyway, we have to, if we want jnana, because the jnanamaya yajna is recommended the highest yajna. So if we actually want jnana, then we have to first of all find out a person who is tattvadarshi. Just like if you have to purchase gold, you must know where gold is available. If you go for purchasing gold to a grocer's shop, then it is hopeless. It is not possible. Then you will be cheated. So at least you have to find out the person who has, that can be found, just like by culture. That is called sacrifice, jnana. If you are actually in search of knowledge, Krishna will help you. And because he is helping you in every way. Ishvara. Sadvasachaham hridisannivishta. This we have discussed this morning. He is always with you. So he understands what kind of knowledge you are in search after. So if we must be sincere that we want to know that absolute truth, then you'll find out. Krishna will help you. If you want a Brahmavadi, he'll help you. If you want a Paramatmavadi, then he will help you. And if you want a devotee, that also help you. So Tadvidi, you have to first of all search out a person. The Krishna recommends that if you want knowledge, then first of all, that is the process, whole Vedic process. In the Kathopanishad also, it is said that Tadvijnanartham gurumeva virachet. If you want to understand the transcendental science, then you have to approach to a spiritual master. And who is spiritual master? Oh, nowadays everyone wants to be spiritual master. Oh, that is also mentioned. Who is spiritual? Samitpani Srotriyam Brahmanistam. You have to approach a spiritual master who is Srotriyam and Brahmanistam. Srotriyam means who has come down from the disciplic succession from the Supreme. Just like we have understood in the 4th chapter, in the beginning of the 4th chapter, Evam parampara praptam evam rajaksaya. There is a parampara, there is disciplic succession. So one is coming into that disciplic succession, and by coming from that disciplic succession, he is firmly convinced in the absolute. He is firmly conversant in the absolute truth. He is good. Two qualifications. He must come from that disciplic succession and he must be convinced. Nobody can deviate him from the conviction of the absolute. Any kind. These two qualifications. Tad viddhi pranipatena pariprasne. The Kathopanishad says, tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva avigachet. Avigachet. This is a Sanskrit grammatical injunction. When there is a question of imperative, you must, they are beginning. This form of verb is used, gachet, gachet, means you must go. You don't think that without going to a qualified, bona fide spiritual master you can have. No, that is not possible. Here also, Lord Krishna also recommends, that viddhi pranipatena pariprasnena seva. If you want to learn the transcendental fact, then you have to find out a transcendentalist first of all. That is also recommended in Kathopanishad. In Bhagavad also, it is said, Tasmad gurum prapaddeta jignasu se uttama. One who is hankering after the highest type of question. We have got so many questions. We can question the whole day and night. What is the rate of this commodity? What is happening in this political field? What is going on in China? Going on these questions are not these questions. Sre Uttama, one who has become inquisitive in the Uttama. Uttama means Udgata Tama. There is not any question of pertaining to the material world. One who is eager to question about the absolute truth of the spiritual world. He requires a spiritual master. Tasmad gurum prapaddeta. The first injunction is that Tasmad gurum prapaddeta. You must submit to a spiritual master. Who is recommended to find out a spiritual master? Tasmad gurum jignasu. Jignasu means who is inquisitive. What kind of inquisitive? Jignasu se uttama. What is the ultimate goal of my life? If you have no such view, to inquire what is the ultimate goal of your life, you need not require to search out a spiritual master. Spiritual master is not a show bottle. Just like, so many people, they have got a spiritual master, let me have also some spiritual master. It is not like that. It is the one as a jignasu. One must be very much inquisitive of the transcendental subject matter. He requires a spiritual master. So here also the Lord says that tadvidhi, if you want to understand that transcendental subject matter, then you must approach a person, a bona fide spiritual master. And the process is pranipat, pranipatena. Pranipat means full surrender. Pra means prakishtarupena, fully. And nipat means completely becoming a blank slate. Blank slate. Nobody should approach a bona fide spiritual master just to argue with him and just to with a desire that I shall see what kind of spiritual master. No, this is useless. You have to select a spiritual master. My Guru Maharaj, my spiritual master used to say that you have to select a spiritual master not by seeing but by your ear, but by hearing. You don't select a spiritual master who has got a very good hair or beard or some very beautiful feature, oh, he's a very good, nice looking. No, you must hear. Yeah. Tad vidhi pranipatena. Sruti, the whole process is Sruti. The Vedas are called Sruti. And the ear has the oral reception. So here also the same thing recommended by Lord Krishna, that pranipati. First of all, you have to find out a bona fide spiritual master, and then you should surrender unto him. This is the first process. Pranipatena pariprasna. Pariprasna means sincere inquiries. Not only surrender, you must be intelligent enough to inquire. Not that when something is hard and there is no question. No, there must be some question. Pariprasnena and sevaya. So surrender, inquiry and seva, service. We sing this song every day. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada, yasya prasadat nagati kutopi, dhayam stuvam tasya jasasti sannam, bandi gurasri charanarvindam. Yasya, if we actually find a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master, and if we can make him satisfied by my service, then my path for realization of God is guaranteed. This is the thing. Yes, it is. First of all, we have to find out a bona fide spiritual master. Then, by my service, by my surrender, by my question, if we utilize, then my path for back to Godhead, back to home is guaranteed. That is it is very important verse. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprasna sivaya upadakshanti te jnanam. That knowledge by which you can go to the point of your self-interest, Vishnu, that knowledge you can realize. Thank you. If there is any question.
State exists between Jnani and Yogi.
The yogi, they are searching after the super soul within himself. And Jnani is understanding the impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth.
Jnani is not the seeker?
He is also seeker. You did not hear. The Absolute Truth is being manifested in three phases. As Paramatma, as Bhagavan, and as Brahma. Those who are after Brahma, they are called Jnani. Those who are after Paramatma, they are called Yogi. And those who are after the personality of Godhead, they are called Bhaktas. And all of them are seeking the Absolute Truth, but in different phases. Do you understand? They are not differentiated. They are not in the material thing. Either the seeker of the Brahma, either the seeker of the Supreme Soul, Super Soul, or the seeker of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are all transcendentals. They are not in the material world. They are tattvavid. Tattvavid means they are in the field of transcendental transaction. But they are at degrees. Just like I have given this example already. You did not hear attentively. That the sun sign, the sun dish, and within the sun, the subject matter is same. But still, the subject matter of studying sunshine and subject matter of studying the sun dish and subject of matter of studying what is within the sun, there are differences. Although the whole subject matter is the sun, the Absolute Truth is also in the same way manifested in three phases: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So either of these three we have to find out, then gradually make further promotion. Those who are in the Brahma conception, just like Sukadeva Goswami, he was in the Brahma conception, but by his further development he became a devotee. He became a devotee. There are many instances. The Sanat sages, they are in Brahma conception. To as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mang Prapaddhate. This Mang means the Supreme Personality of God. So anyone who comes to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is in the highest perfection of knowledge.
A man with plenty of spiritual knowledge and great literature, or a man with plenty of faith in heart.
Yes, that is always.
In other words, a bhakta or a gnani.
No. You just say that in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that bhaktosi me priyosi. Because you are my devotee, you are my most dear friend.
Why is it so?
That is his observed, that you ask Krishna, he says.
But why is it so?
Why? Krishna says, he cannot say.
Because if we go wholeheartedly to God without proper understanding, there is also a flaw.
No, there is no question of understanding. Suppose this process, just like Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mang Prapaddhate, after many births of culture of knowledge, the person who has come to the highest point of knowledge, he surrenders unto me. So, similarly, if any person without any knowledge, if he surrenders only to Krishna, he acquires all the knowledge. He has surpassed all steps. He has surpassed all steps. And that is also common. If you say how he has got surpassed all stages, no. That answer is in Bhagavad Gita, you find. Tesam evankam partham aham ajnana janatama nasayami atmabhavasta jnanadipena bhasana. Tesa, because he is a devotee, just to show him a special favor. Tesam evankam partham, simply for showing a special favor, I myself, from the within, I light up the knowledge, I mean to say, searchlight, and he becomes. And you will be surprised that my Guru Maharaj's spiritual master was a Gaur-Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. He was completely illiterate. He did not know how to sign. And my spiritual master was the most learned man of his age. And he accepted that Guru, who was completely illiterate. But when he would speak, that Gaur-Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he would speak with all Vedic references. And you will find in the Vedas that Jasya Devi Parabhakti, Jatha Devi Tatha Guru, Tasya Kadita Yata Prakashanti Mahatmana. So this spiritual knowledge becomes revealed, and it is not subjected to any material acquisition. It is not subject to any material acquisition of knowledge. It becomes revealed. How? Jasya Devi Parabhakti, Jatha Devi Tatha Guru, one who has a staunch faith in the Supreme Lord and staunch faith in the personality of his spiritual master, bona fide, then he gets all the things revealed in himself. And spiritual things are not just like material things. So, according to Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Guhyatamam, the Lord said that the most confidential part of knowledge I am speaking to you, my dear Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, that Sarva Dharman Parityajyamami Tam Sarva. So one who has the conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and has surrendered unto Him, he is considered to the highest topmost spiritualist.
What is the importance of prasad? Importance of prasad.
Prasad means mercy. Mercy. Prasad means pratistarupena sidati. That is, prasad means completely satisfied.
At the end of it, you will give us some prasad. What is the importance of that?
Oh, that, prasad, that, very good. That prasad is Krishna's favor. Krishna's special favor. That is special. samsari sarvadukhanam hani vasupajas. If we simply eat Krishna prasad without any culture, we can get spiritual knowledge. All right, let us have some kirtan. You can close the door again.